Hello everybody on YouTube, thank you so much for joining me here today in Nimbus Gaming. My name is Kobe. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day, and for today's video we'll be going over a few tips or a few things I believe that every new player should know, or at least things I wish I knew when I started out playing the game. And without further ado, or without holding on to it too long, let's jump right into it. So the first tip that I want to go over, the first thing I want to go over is the starter platinum, right? And what starter platinum is, or what platinum itself is, it's this thing up here in the top right, this little silvery looking thing. That is Warframe's premium currency. So this is what you could use to buy cosmetics, weapons, Warframes, all that stuff, right? So when you just start a game, you'll be able to get 50 of this, or you'll get 50 of this on your account. And when it comes on to that initial 50, what'll be the things that'll tempt you the most is to, once you're crafting things in your foundry, you'll see the option to speed it up or to complete it with platinum. So if I want to complete my forma, I'll go ahead and craft it or complete it with 10 platinum. Or something else, that the thing that tempted me the most, or the thing that caused me to spend my platinum initially, is cosmetics, right? So say for instance you want to buy some armor, or you just saw someone out in the open world, or you saw someone in game that has some cool stuff, and you're like, whoa, that looks sick, I want to get that, right? So you'll then come here and say, oh, where can I get this chest plate, blah blah blah, right? So you'll come here, you'll see it, and you'll see that it costs 40 platinum. You're like, no, I have 50, let me go ahead and buy it. So you'll then buy it, and then you'll be down to 5 platinum. And reason why that's not good is that later on in the game you'll want to craft weapons and warframes, and you do need warframe and weapon slots, right? Because I believe you only get one at the beginning of the game. And when it comes down to weapons, I believe it's just like 2 or something like that, right? So when it comes on to actually getting weapon slots and warframe slots, there are a few ways about getting them. One, or the quickest, well, not the quickest way, one of those ways is the Nightwave. So once you're, where is it? Once you're at like level 14 or so, you'll get a Warframe slot, and you'll get weapon slots at like level 9. This does slightly change in some Nightwaves. However, this is not necessarily the quickest way to get them, right? So what I would recommend is that with that starter platinum, with that first 50 platinum, is to come to your market, go to equipment, and come to equipment and go to slots, right? So once you're here, you will be able to purchase Warframe and weapon slots, right? And one Warframe slot is 20, and for 2 weapon slots it's 12. I do believe that when you're a new player, you do get the option to purchase a bundle with, I believe, like 4 weapon slots and 1 Warframe slots. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it costs like 40 something platinum, right? I mean, it would cost 40 something platinum just the same if you were to go ahead and buy all that stuff regardless, right? So what you want to prioritize early game is to buy Warframe slots and weapon slots, because one of the most exciting things in the game is to craft your new or your first Warframe, right? And that'll help out a bunch. And then you'll be able to make platinum later on in the game when it comes on to just trading and all that stuff, to then purchase with cosmetics and all that stuff, right? Right, so going into the next tip is, it's exactly here in the market. So coming here to Warframes, right? So going over the same platinum thing is that once you're here, say you're now curious about other Warframes and you want to go ahead and craft your next Warframe or grab your next Warframe, you'll come to the market and you'll see, oh, okay, so all the Warframes cost platinum, because I'm seeing here Ash is 375, Atlas 275, blah blah blah, right? You'll say, oh, so every Warframe here costs platinum, so I'll need to go ahead and use platinum, or I'll need to buy platinum before I can get the next Warframe. That's wrong, right? So what you want to do is, right here where it says filters, go ahead and click on hide items without blueprints, right? Because every single Warframe is farmable in game, right? Some Warframes you can go ahead and purchase their blueprints here and then find their components in missions or fighting bosses, all that stuff. Other Warframes you can only get them from in-game vendors. So say for instance there is a certain mission that gives a certain resource, you could go ahead and use that resource to purchase the Warframe's components and blueprint from a in-game vendor, right? So just to show you guys what I mean, so say for instance, right, see Ash is here, boom, click on Ash, you'll see this right here that says blueprints, 35,000 credits, and credits is the other currency in the game, which essentially you get this by the boatloads just by playing. So look, so it costs 35,000 credits, and once you go ahead and grab onto this, once you're hovering over this, it'll show you where you could actually get his components. Just by reading here, it says Ash's blueprints for his components are acquired from Corpus Rail defense missions on Pluto, Neptune, and Venus Proximas, right? So it'll show you exactly where you need to go to actually get these parts, right? So keep in mind, that's two things. It'll give you the Warframe blueprints for credits, not platinum, and it'll tell you exactly where you could go ahead and get those parts from, right? Okay, so moving on into the next tip, which I believe that everyone should be a part of, or everyone should get into as soon as they start a game, or as soon as you're out of the first few quest missions, is to join a clan, right? Join a clan so you could be able to access the dojo. So what you want to do is to go to clan here in communications, and you want to go ahead and join a clan. And one way about joining clans is you can come here in the recruitment chat and just say, hey guys, I'm a new player, I'd like to join a clan, and you'll pretty much get invited immediately, or you'll be sent an invite, or you'll be able to come here and see what clans. I won't be able to see now since I'm already in one, but once you're here, you'll get a list of clans you could apply to, and then you'll pretty much get accepted pretty instantly, if I'm being honest. And then once you're in the clan, what you want to do is come here to the dojo, and the dojo is the vital part about actually joining a clan, right? So once I'm in the dojo, I'll be able to tell you guys exactly why. So yeah. So here we are in my dojo, or in my clan's dojo. Sorry for the frame rate drops. My clan's decorations always get my frames down low. Not sure why, but yeah. So coming here into the clan, what will be the most vital things here is the trading post. So what this allows you to do is to essentially trade with other players for other items or in-game items, those being either prime warframes, mods, certain craftables, all that other stuff, right? So you'll be able to either trade for platinum or just trade for items in general, which is very, very cool and very, very helpful in game. And then the other thing that I want to talk about is here is the research labs, right? So you have a bunch of them, but in my opinion, the most important one for a new player would be the Tenel Lab, right? So you have Tenel Lab, Energy Lab, Chem Lab, Bio Lab, Working Lab, Vent Kids, and Diets Hollow. The most important ones, or the most vital ones for a new player, would probably be these first five. This one here, this one here, this one here, this one here. These three, you could get weapons and some craftables, and also some companions. However, the one that I really want to talk about is the Tenel Lab for new player experience. So coming here to the Tenel Lab, this will be where you probably get your first set of warframes. So right here you have 5 warframes. You have Banshee, Nezha, Volt, Wukong, and Zephyr. Right? So these are some of the actual strongest frames in the game. If you guys look, you'll be able to see on my page that I have a video covering Zephyr. She's a very broken frame. She's just as good as her prime, if I'm being honest. So if you get her here, you could always still use that build. Well, so essentially what you want to do is come here, and you'll be able to buy these warframes for credits, right? So you'll be able to buy the warframes and all of its components for credits, right? So it'll be about 85,000 credits for the full frame. And then once you have all the parts, you'll want to go ahead and craft the items in your foundry. And once you hover over all of these, it'll tell you exactly what you need to craft those components. And once you have all the components crafted, you'll then be able to craft the entire warframe, right? So trust me, that's awesome, and that ties back into actually having Warframe slots, right? So when it comes down to the slots, what most players will tell you to do is that later on in the game, you'll be able to get you'll be able to get the ability to essentially sacrifice or to give up one frame and get that slot back. And once you give up that frame, you'll be able to grab one of the powers from that frame or one of the abilities from that frame and give it to any of your other warframes at any time, right? So without explaining that too much. So once you have the ability to do that, you'll be able to then free up some slots or free up some slots for new frames. So most players will tell you that, hey, just hold on to all your frames and then do that with them, right? However, for me, I believe that seeing as these frames here, and this is just for these frames specifically, right? For the dojo frames, since they'll always be in the dojo and they'll always just cost 80,000 credits, what I'd recommend is that you just build these one at a time, and if you play them and you don't like them, or if they're just not clicking with you, you could go here to equipment, go to inventory. So say for instance, I'm playing Ash Prime, and I'm not really liking Ash, right? Uh, and I'd like to go ahead and try a different frame, try a Zephyr, try a Banshee, etc., etc. Which I could do is to come here, click on the frame, and you'll see down here to click and sell items for credits, right? So most players will tell you not to do this because you could go ahead and sacrifice a frame at a later time. And please keep in mind, do not sell your Prime Warframes. Do not sell your Prime Warframes. This is just for an example. I'm only talking about base frames, right? So for these frames in the dojo, since they're always there and you don't have to actually farm them, right? You only have to farm up the resources. I'd say if you're playing them and you don't want to go ahead and, or if you're tied on platinum or if you're tied on Warframe slots, just go ahead and sell them, right? Sell those ones, swap them out for the next one, and vice versa. It helps towards your mastery rank, and you could also go ahead and get these back at any time to then sacrifice to the thing, right? And once you're at that point, once you recraft them, once you already level them up to rank 30, you then recraft them. You don't have to level that frame up again. You just go ahead and just sacrifice it, right? So that's that. And also in these places, you could go ahead and find weapons, both melees, secondaries, and primaries, right? And you could find other stuff like arc rings and arc ring weapons, and a few other little key items, right? So I'd say it's very vital and important that you join a clan as soon as you can to then get the ability to gain all of this stuff, right? So now, moving forward or moving into the next tip would be, alright, so moving into the next tip. The next tip revolves around the Nightwave, and not necessarily just the Nightwave in itself. However, when it comes on to doing the actual Nightwave, something that I do find to be very vital in here, apart from what I mentioned prior when it comes on to the weapons and Warframe slots, these right here are the Orkin catalysts and the reactors, and as well as Nitane extract, but primarily these two, right? So essentially what these do is they give you the opportunity to double the mod capacity in both your warframes. The reactors are for your warframes and the catalysts are for your weapons, right? So these give you the opportunity to double the mod capacity, which is extremely vital when it comes on to having a proper build, because you know you want to fit as much mods in there as possible. So this is not necessarily like a big tip per se, but this is one of the only places that you can get this in the game for free. Otherwise, you'd have to buy them each for 20 platinum a piece. Um, Also, you could also gain these from every now and then. There are invasion missions, and you could also try to get these from Akritis in the Dorma Zone once you finish Whispers in the Wall. No, once you finish once you finish the very experience or stuff like that, you'll be able to then get those from Akritis if she has them that week, right? So moving into the next tip. Next tip revolves around mods, right? So going down here, go to our mod table. Alright, so when it comes on to modding or actually getting mods, um, what I would recommend is that for early game, you don't want to have more than one copy of each mod, right? Because you only really need one copy because that one copy can be placed on every Warframe and every weapon that you do have. Um, so investing into multiple of the same mod, it's pretty much diminishing returns. So you won't be able to actually gain anything from that. I do know there's cases because I have experienced some myself where I've essentially needed I had a mod on a weapon that had a catalyst, or I had a mod on a weapon that had uh, a good amount of capacity. However, on the weapon or the weapon that I'm trying to put that mod on currently, it doesn't have that much capacity, or it doesn't have a catalyst installed. So I was saying, you know what, I really need this mod, but I don't need it to its full potential. Let me just go ahead and max out or rank up another one to like a couple steps below so it could fit. Um, in some cases, I do see that as okay, but in hindsight, I think that's not the best way to go about it because you're just wasting endo at that point, right? So what you want to do with all your mods or all your duplicates, so right here you see the option to sort by. You could always sort by duplicates, and what you want to do is to click on a duplicate, and when you're doing this, essentially you want to keep like one mod left over just in case. So what I typically do is I click on it, put it to the max, then take one off, right? So you want to go ahead and take one off, and then right here you'll see the option to either sell it for credits or dissolve it for endo. Never sell it for credits. No matter how much of a pinch you are in for credits, you could always just get that very easily. There's many ways in the game to gain credits, especially just by playing missions. So avoid selling your mods for credits. I know it looks very enticing, but you're always going to want to go ahead and dissolve them for endo, right? You always want to go ahead and dissolve them for endo because endo is just more of a rare and vital resource. You actually need endo to max out your mods. And just to give you guys an example, so redirection is a very common mod that you need or that you want on your Warframe early game for extra shield capacity. So say for instance, I want to go ahead and max this out, right? Come here and click on fusing. That's already 10,000 endo, right? That's already 10,000 endos just to max it out, right? Because the way how mods work is they essentially double for each time you go up. It's like doubling a little bit more, but you get the point, right? So it pretty much doubles just to go up, right? So you want to ensure that you're dissolving all your duplicates for endo, and if you have rare mods, you want to go ahead and then probably sell those for platinum if someone's looking to buy them. I'm going to be making a video soon when it comes on to all the vital and necessary mods when it comes on to early game and even Steel Path. So be on the lookout for that. Or if you're just starting Steel Path as well, that will be a very good video because the main roadblock most people get is that when they get to Steel Path, their damage falls off drastically. And that's pretty much based on your mods and your modding. So yeah. So that is pretty much the last tip I have for this video. I'll be doing another video when it comes on to tips sooner. Just don't want to be, make this a super long video. But the most important tip of all is to ensure that you're enjoying the game. Ensure that you're having fun. Ensure that, you're playing the game the way you want to at the pace that you want to. Because at the end of the day, that's the real point of playing the game, is to have fun and to make sure that you're enjoying yourself. So yeah, so thank you guys so much for stopping by. My name is Kobe. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.